I am so excited and so honored to be sitting and chatting with San Antonio's First Lady and fellow RGV native,
Panthers!
Erika Prosper Nirenberg, on behalf of Significant You. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me today. Significant You is an organization here in San Antonio that is committed to serving as a catalyst for the next generation, specifically young women, by being a voice that inspires conversations to empower action, sisterhood, and significance. And I love this organization because it provides a place for young women to be empowered, to be mentored, to be equipped with leadership development skills, to be encouraged with pursuing a higher education, and even their self-worth and self-image, among so many other things they do. And so I want to ask you, how did you get involved with Significant You?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here and for having this conversation. I can echo what you said about Significant You and everything that it stands for. I specifically started my relationship with Significant You because I met Carmen Lydia, their founder. And to be fair, she approached me after an event and was excited to talk to me about women empowerment and girls empowerment. And it's just so happened that one of her big fundraisers during the year, or actually the conference that ultimately it culminates to, talks about making sure that young women understand their self-worth, but it's in the context of giving them prom dresses or homecoming dresses. And it just so happened that at that time, I was interested in also doing something to help girls feel better about themselves, feel pretty, and understand this notion that they can have this one day to feel pretty, whether it be the prom or the homecoming dance, but leave with a lasting idea that they're worthwhile, regardless of whether or not they felt pretty at that day.
Sure.
And so to me, that is how I started getting involved. It was really the tenacity of their founder and her spirit, her energy. I've often told her that she came into my life at a point where I was wavering as well in some things. I was having some self-doubts, but she brought in this renewed energy by seeing how young and dedicated she was to the improvement of girls and the creation of a fair sisterhood. It really reinvigorated me. So I like to joke around with her and say we found each other at the right times.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love Carmen, and I think we met each other a few months ago, and I told her, I'm like, this is just such a God thing that she came into my life. And so absolutely love her and adore her and everything she's doing for the San Antonio community. With Significant You, there also is the She Is campaign, which you're a part of, and it highlights women who lead lives with dignity, strength, and confidence. Who is someone in your life you feel exemplifies that?
Oh, well, I've got two very strong women in my life, my adoptive mother and my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. To me, both of them, very different backgrounds, very different upbringings, completely, but they both exemplify to me what it is to be a modern woman. Even though my grandmother is 95 years old,
Wow.
She still to me is a modern woman because she thought beyond just her kids. She thought about what could education get them, and she didn't know anything about the future, but she knew that education was a way out. And that's a very modern way to think for a woman who was brought up at the turn of the century. To me, she's also very dignified because she really is, at the end of the day, still the matriarch of our family. And even though she is less and less involved in our day-to-day, at 95 she can't cheese me out as much as she used to. But she still carries herself, I think, with the dignity of what a matriarch should be, which is still caring for everybody in our family. My adoptive mother, I say this because to me, she's been, as an adult woman, she has been a light and a goal for me in terms of someone who is compassionate, kind, intelligent, and just so positive. And so those things to me are really about what the She Is campaign is. So, you know, these two women are part of who they are and who made me. So She Is me, really a mixture of both of them at this point in my life.
Wow, that's so good, so good. Well, Significant You not only empowers young women, but they encourage them to empower each other.
Oh, yes.
Can you just talk about the importance of women building each other up?
Well, and I think, you know, what I'd love to tell your audience is don't wait to be in your 40s to figure this out. I think maybe my generation, we were so focused on success. You know, we grew up in the 80s. We were about getting in there and breaking down walls that women from the 70s had started to break down for us. So we were too distracted by our personal success. And I think when you get into, hopefully, younger generations, I do think, and I applaud the fact that younger women are aware that maybe learning from the mistakes of what my generation and others did is really focusing more on spreading that success. And I acknowledge the fact that sisterhood has been one of the most important things in my life. And I didn't really understand how important it was until my husband really started running for office. Because you know, when you are living your life out there and there's not a microscope on you, you know, you can say, do whatever you need to do, and you don't have as much of your time taken up by things. However, when you have added responsibilities besides your job, you end up having to rely on friends through good times, bad times, sometimes just to blow out steam. And that sisterhood, that idea of women supporting women really came to light for me in this last decade. Because I didn't realize how much I would have to depend emotionally, sometimes even, you know, with my son and timing wise. I didn't know how much I was going to depend on my good friends. Yeah. And so the idea of women lifting women is probably one that I think gets said, but in the process of you trying to think about what's your goal, what is your path, what's your ultimate career or your ultimate impact, you forget sometimes that you need to carry other women with you. Sure. And so, again, it's been a very, very important part of my life now. I'm as much involved with organizations who do espouse that. Significant You espouses that to the 100th level. But also my dear group of friends as well, who are women who don't compete with me. Yeah. They have their own amazing lives, their own amazing careers, and we don't compare notes as if just because you had success this week, you know, that somehow diminishes me. We are so happy for each other when we get somewhere. We are so happy to help each other as needed, and we're happy to be there as a sounding board, and sometimes also as a board of criticism, you know, that says, hey, girl, you've gone off the deep end. You need to slow it down. You need that. You need that. And that, to me, is part of lifting women. When you have women who can also be honest with you about how you're behaving and what you're doing, that is lifting you.
That's so good.
As long as it comes from a positive place of moving forward, not from just someone who wants to criticize and criticize and criticize to make themselves feel better.
Sure. Love that so much. Your story is one that is truly inspiring, from working in the fields at such a young age to now being the chairwoman of the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber. Can you share a little bit about your story for those who might not know?
Well, many people know a lot about the fact that I was a migrant farm worker. I'm very proud of that. I will not shy away from that ever, because I think that migrant children in general bring to the table tenacity. They bring to the table this idea of relentlessness and hard work. So I'm always very proud of my roots. And I always tell other migrant children, you know, and immigrant children, you went through a lot to get where you are. Technically speaking, I think school districts and I think employers need to pay attention. These folks actually come with a whole set of skill sets and attitudes that it takes years to develop sometimes in a workforce. They already come ready-made with this idea of, I'm going to persevere and I'm going to do a good job. Now, what gets interesting is, and I haven't talked about it in the past, I'm talking about it more often. You heard me say adoptive mother. When I was 17, much like many Latino communities, you know, we grew up with things that we didn't talk about. You know, we don't talk about alcohol abuse. We don't talk about you know, domestic violence. You know, eso se queda en la familia. We don't talk about it openly. And it just so happened that at that time, my family was going through a difficult time, and my biological mother made some decisions that, in retrospect now, she knows she did wrong. We have a good relationship now. Yeah. But at the time, when I was, you know, 16, we had to make a choice. I had to make a choice. She had to make a choice. And so I was taken away from the family because, you know, it wasn't a good time for her to necessarily, you know, be my mother. And so I ended up being placed in this sort of foster home with these amazing people who would eventually adopt me as an adult. They didn't adopt me at 16 or 17. I got fostered. They would end up adopting me in my 20s because we just became a family as well. And so that I think is an interesting thing, because I often, when I go back to the Valley, I'll spend time with both families. I'll spend time with my birth family, my Mexican, loud, still very poor, but amazingly wonderful family, and my amazingly wonderful adoptive family, which is really just two retirees now. And I balance that out, and I try to show my son, that both parts are me and that both parts are him. Yeah. But I probably am not that different from you. When you don't have money, you don't come from a background of a great education. I made my way through college. I worked. I got scholarships. I got grants, financial aid, loans. Then I worked my way through graduate school and eventually landed in great places with good careers. And now I'm at HEB. I'm an executive. I love the company. Been there for a decade.
Wow.
I know. And so that's my story. But I think it starts with letting everybody here know that I never planned it out. So don't be afraid if you don't know what your next step is or where it's going to go. The issue is to open yourself to opportunities. I always believed that God was going to take care of me and the opportunities were going to be there. And sure enough, but the main thing I tell you is don't be afraid to take them. Because if I hadn't just taken all those opportunities, including the bad one, the things that came as a result of a bad one, then I wouldn't be here.
Wow, that's really great. What would your advice be or words of encouragement to someone who maybe feels stuck or trapped or maybe far from achieving anything because of their current situation or their environment?
I think my biggest piece of advice is that you're never stuck. This is what is amazing about human beings, is that we have such capabilities inside of us, the ability to love, the ability to be mobile, if you have that gift, if you have the blessing, the ability to change your mind, the ability to change who you are almost, physically, health-wise. You're never stuck as a human being. That's part of the beautiful thing about life. Now, you may think that you are because you were born into poverty, or you may think that you are because maybe you went down a bad road or a road with bad decisions, I should say. But I can guarantee you that there are more people out there that are willing to go in with you on hope and to help you than there are naysayers. So don't focus on the naysayers of your life. Don't focus on the people that drain your hope. Focus and surround yourself with people of hope, even people that you think, well, you don't really know me that well. Why are you trying to be so nice? Take the opportunity to get to know them and take their hand if they're offering you a hand. Because a lot of times, this is what we need. We think that if we're stuck by ourselves. But we have to remember that a lot of people feel that same way. Sure. And just reaching out to another person who feels stuck and another person, you can lift yourselves up from that.
So good. Well, now we're going to switch gears and have some fun a little bit. Christmas, yes.
Yes, Christmas is coming, right?
It is.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay.
I actually have some props for us.
This one's mine. I already called it.
So Christmas is fast approaching. I personally love the holidays, and so I thought it'd be fun to do a round of Christmas questions.
Sounds good.
How do we look? Do we look okay?
Yeah. What do you think?
Let's see.
Are my horns all weird? All right.
Yes? Yes? Okay. Good.
I'm not a natural reindeer all.
Okay, so what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, It's a Wonderful Life. It is. We screen it every year on Christmas Eve.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And considering how wonderful and joyous you are and how much you believe in the spirit, you would love it.
Yes.
It is literally about what we said, about someone feeling stuck and how God intervenes to help you realize how many opportunities there are in your life. It's
good.
perfect.
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check it out this year. What is your favorite Christmas song?
My favorite Christmas song. I like the En el nombre del cielo os pido posadas, and I don't know really that much more except that, but I love singing it. But I think my favorite one is Feliz Navidad.
Oh, love that one.
Yes.
Good one. Do you know the 12 days of Christmas?
Ooh, the 12 days of Christmas my true love gave to me. 12 drums are drumming, 11 lords are leaping, 10 pipers piping, 11 something something, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. Somewhere in there around 10 and 11, I don't remember.
I don't know any of them. I just thought it'd be a fun question.
Oh, darn it. I thought it was a test
We'll
question.
Google it. We'll check. So Christmas for Hispanics is filled with tamales and menudo, abuelita's hot chocolate.
Yes.
What's your favorite food during the holidays?
Oh, pozole.
Pozole, I think if you catch me between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I will usually make a pozole batch. Now that I have my Instapot, I will usually make one about once every week. Jonah loves it. He eats it like there's no tomorrow, and that always brings joy to my heart, because when you can make something authentic from scratch that your son likes, you're going to make it over and over, and Ron likes it too, which is a plus.
That's awesome. Lastly, for someone who's needing ideas for a present, what's a gift they can give someone this year?
Check out what we're both wearing, which are the Significant You keys to conversation. As we talked about earlier, one of the things about Significant You that I've always loved is the fact that they're not afraid to have these conversations with young women about things like healthcare, about education, about self-worth. And really, to me, when Carmen created this idea of keys for conversation, and as a gift, they make a great gift, because every time someone wears it, they not only remember the conversation you had with them, that came with it, but I think it also reminds them that they should have a conversation with themselves about what they need and what they want and what they're worth. And this, to me, is a fantastic present, because opening the conversation on many, many critical discussions that you need to have is one of the most scary things, especially for women, because I think we've been conditioned to please, we've been conditioned to be quiet, and sometimes even to not bring up uncomfortable topics, because as women, we're supposed to be the peacekeepers. What this tells me, though, is that I have permission to have a conversation with you, a crucial conversation with you, if I care about you, if I want to uplift you, or if I want to help you. And so every time I wear my conversation is key necklace, it just kind of gives me that extra confidence that I can have any conversation I need to have to help another person or to help myself. And this is one of the reasons why I think this is a fantastic Christmas gift. It's not that expensive.
No.
I want to say it's about $25. I think they might even have a special if you keep a lookout. But $25, you can get it on significantyou.org. Really easy, and ordering now can get you in time for the holidays without any issue.
And not only is it stylish and super cool, but every time you purchase one of these, it's going to help secure a seat for a student, a young girl, to attend the empowerment conference that they put on once a year.
That's
so,
right.
Yes, so get your keys, significantyou.org. They have plenty of selections, plenty of keys for you to choose from. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me today. Loved soaking in all your words of wisdom. I love your story. I love how you uplift women. Thank you again so much. Thank you to Significant You for helping us put this on. This organization is incredible. If you have not heard of them, visit their website. They're also on Instagram and Facebook. Check them out. And thank you so much for everyone for watching.
Thank you all.